Parking district can take a variety of different forms, and in some way I think it's helpful to think about what a parking district is not. And it's not just planning parking for each building that is built. It's not thinking on a site-by-site basis. A parking district looks at an entire area. It could be a block, it could be more than one block, and planning the parking intentionally to serve the needs of those sites.
A shared parking district or a parking district is really an understanding in a certain place, and it can work in a lot of different ways, about sharing the parking between different users. A sort of traditional environment, a kind of suburban environment would be each use has its own individual parking field, and that's very inefficient in terms of the amount of land it uses, in terms of what it causes people to have to do to drive from one place to another.
We really need to use our land to the maximum advantage possible, and we have long known that separate parking for different uses is a very inefficient way to provide parking. So the city has stepped up and provided that municipal parking system, and it has created many benefits to our downtown.
Go through an area where each business has its own parking provided. What you often see is, from the pedestrian's perspective, that street is pockmarked with surface parking lots, so it's not a very pleasant space. With a parking district, you concentrate those parking structures so that you can have a more continuous building frontage. It's just a much more pleasant and often a safer place to be.
I think cities would be very shocked when they looked at their current mix of buildings, space for cars and space for people, how the people in their community actually have the least amount of space dedicated for their use, and that that does not create the kind of social connections that people want to make these days.
Shared parking districts are all about integrating parking into all of the other transportation choices. You're still providing parking, you're still providing enough parking for all the things that need to happen, but you're doing it in common so that you can, so the term sometimes we use is park once. I drive here, I park my car, and then I go to work, and then I go to the restaurant, and then I go to shopping, and then I go for an ice cream, and I go to the movies, and then I go home.
50th and France is one of the first examples of district parking in the state of Minnesota, where the city got together in 1968 and created our first district parking structure for the whole shopping district. Rather than each individual property owner having their own private parking lot, most businesses share this district-wide parking. And we found that that's a way to meet the needs of employees, to meet the needs of consumers and shoppers, but in a way that's more efficient. It's more cost efficient and it's more space efficient.
None of the businesses in our central business district have to provide their own parking. That provides a huge financial incentive for new startups, small businesses, as well as large users that may have lower profit margins. And so we're able to take the parking out of the equation for them as a business and also really utilize the land that we have in the best way possible.
One of the things that shared parking districts allow is that you use less physical space for the parking, which is great because it allows you to use more space for different connections that you need between multiple uses.
We widened our sidewalks, we added street trees, we added seating, comfortable seating, plaza areas for pedestrians. Whether you are meeting a friend and standing out on the sidewalk chatting, whether you're walking your dog and you run into a neighbor, and we left a place for you to stop and have a conversation. That's part of the vibrancy of 50th and France, the fact that it is a walkable district, that there's a reason to park in one spot and visit one store, and then maybe go next door to the next and have a great experience.
So when considering a parking district, it's important to step away from the conventional way of planning, which is typically on a site-by-site basis. It's important to look at an entire district and how each of those uses and their parking needs relate to one another. They need to be flexible in their use. We don't know how much parking is going to be needed in the future. Some innovations, such as the driverless car, may significantly reduce the parking that we need. So when planning these parking districts, it's important that we build those structures in such a way that they can be converted in the future if necessary.
First and foremost, we have a business district. It's not just a parking district. It exists because it's a successful business district, and it's absolutely essential that we maintain that perspective. It's not just about parking cars, it's not about making a pretty bus stop, it's about people. When they come and when they go, I want them to be safe and have a great experience.
The parking system that we have is successful because it is parking where people need it. Our recent wayfinding enhancements have made it a fairly easy system to navigate. We have affordable parking in our system. It just has a lot of efficiencies that comes along with a district parking system.
By making parking kind of a forgettable experience, that they focus on the good stuff. They had a great lunch with their spouse, they had a great shopping experience with their friends, they had a nice time out at the movies or the show. That's what it's all about. So it's that quality experience that we're really striving for.